Alrighty, folks. We're back. This time in California. All right. Hello. Hey, folks. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Welcome in. How am I looking? Dude, this is quite the bear scene behind me. We're still getting moved in, folks. But we're back up. We're live. Everything is set up. If the stream decides to do what it has been doing for the entire morning, then things should be running okay on your guys' end. Shouldn't be any lag and stuff. And we've got a monthly report to talk about. Oh boy, we've got a monthly report to talk about. This is a late one too. This is like, we're almost halfway through the month and they just got this to us. I thought last week when they didn't mention anything about it, I thought they might just be skipping the monthly report for the month before CitizenCon. They're just like, nah, they don't need to know what's going on anymore. We'll just tell them at CitizenCon. But they got something out to us. We've got some things to go through. Some interesting stuff. It's not a super hype one, but it's like a decent mid-year update, I guess you could say. I'm just happy to be back on stream though, chilling with you guys. It's been like a week, probably a week and a half since we've been solid. And even before that, back in like August, was really the last time we were just doing regular streams. So happy to be back and glad to be talking about some interesting update stuff. It's been a little while. How's everyone doing? How you doing, folks? Tell me who's in here. Who do we got in here? A Kid Tent coming in with the tacos call. I see you. Over on YouTube. Extreme Terror, how you doing? Limitless Factor. Caption Gomer. Good to see you. Sessions. Town Scott and Windlord. Thank you guys all for filling us out over on Twitch. Twitch has been a little bit quiet this summer. I'm looking out for you, Twitch. We got plans for you. Things are gonna look up, I think. AM, we have new information. We have a monthly report. Yay! August stuff. Mainly focusing on Alpha 3.20 stuff, but there's some interesting like 3.21 and probably 4.0 stuff going on in here. VR support. Oh man, well that'd be great if there was VR support, at least in the monthly reports, but I think we're a little early for that still. Just a little bit. I thought we were a little early for ray tracing too, but they talk about that today as well. So who knows? VR support, my man Sylvan, he wants it in there. He's going to get it in there. Maybe we'll see it earlier than I think. Polite Gaming, Windlord, Limitless Factor, Shifty, 07s everybody, how you doing? They messed your work internet and now it's very slow, so you'll be watching Pixelated Tomato today. Hey, Pixo Tomato. I appreciate it, whether I'm smooth or pixelated, dude, a view is a view. But don't tell people about my skin regimen if I'm pixelated, okay? Can't let them thinking that I'm on some bad schedule for my skin, making everything pixelated. Put work into that skin, you know? Matt Sully, how you doing? Cantor, good to see you, dude. I didn't take your comment as negative, by the way. I can still see it. It's a little sneaky little cheat. I can see the comment, and I love it. Should have kept it up. Theotis, glad you like the podcast. I will see you at CitizenCon, my friend. We will be there. We've got a couple little fundraising events planned to help us get the whole CitizenCon thing squared away. We'll be doing a streamathon later on sometime. Mrs. Tomato is setting that up. And a couple other things just to make sure that all goes smoothly. And when we're there, we're actually looking at making some videos on the show floor on the with the community, asking questions, getting answers, all that kind of fun stuff. So I think we'll make a couple of CitizenCon videos that are not really so much about the information, but more about the community. More about that coming up, though. Vulcan API or Aegis Vulcan? Which one, Scott? Use the Prime you're going to watch on YouTube. Hey, appreciate you. Almost at the 55,000 point. Almost at 55,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, folks. People have talked about how Star Citizen's kind of slowed down a little bit this year. Our subscriber growth, took a nosedive in the summer. And that was pretty consistent from who I've talked to throughout YouTube across Star Citizen stuff. But it seriously, it's pretty wild how much it changed from any other point I've covered Star Citizen till this summer in terms of new people coming in and subscribing. Not a big deal. Subscribers matter less than they ever did before on YouTube, but it is an interesting metric, I think, for interest in a topic or subject. 3.20 is open PTU. Is it really? We've gone open. Now I must see. That is good news if so. That means that we're probably going live sooner than I was thinking. I gotta get started on my 3.20 live video then. Let's see, 3.20 patch notes. Giveaway? We got a giveaway going? Mrs. T just shadow started a giveaway. What is this? This is Is this what you're talking about? What wave is this? 19 hours ago. All backers. Wow. So PTU is open. Yo, that is that happened very quickly. Jeez. Okay. I gotta get started on that video then. Holy crap, they're moving. They're putting in the work. Hey, Tyrus though. Over here putting in some of his own work. Tyrus, dude, thank you so much for dropping those 5 memberships on YouTube. Appreciate you with that support, man. Join GII, folks. You know what it is. Tyrus call sign. Oh, might be time to start a giveaway soon. Yeah, I think we could get one started soon. Why didn't the saxophone go off? The saxophone goes off, I believe, for Twitch. Not for YouTube. Although, I'm also noticing that I'm not hearing the alert. And I'm not sure if that's on my end. We are on a new computer today, so... Keep in mind, folks. I am still... Yeah, I am getting line in, so something's going on with our alerts I'll have to look into. Write that one down, Mrs. T. This is my first stream back on a new PC. We got a new setup going on, so we're moving a little bit slower today, getting to the monthly report. I wanted to chat and hang out a little bit, 3.21 supposedly has static server meshing, according to leaks. Yeah, see, I don't really cover leaks because you end up being wrong more times than you're right. I did cover leaks for a little while. And I'll keep them in mind when sharing information and stuff, but with how much stuff comes up through leaks, I prefer to just kind of talk about that on Discord with the group, maybe, but not really put it into streamer videos. So this will be the fastest PTU for Star Citizen? No, I think we've seen much faster than this. I think we've seen probably just 2 to 3 weeks PTU. Back in the early days. No saxophone love. Yo, it's killing me. I'm dying over here. Aaliyah and Joe 10 dropping 5 community subs over on Twitch, and we're not getting a saxophone. Please. Please, help us. Help us, Jeeves. Start the saxophone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We got multiple saxophones queued up for the next time we stream, and things are running better, running well, running correctly. My apologies. Drive by sub and gotta run for work. You guys have a great day. And you heard the sax. Wait, you guys heard the saxophone? I didn't hear it. As long as somebody got it. I can't complain then. As long as somebody got to hear the saxophone, you get the saxophone, we can all be happy. I'll just live vicariously through you. Good to hear. Thank you for the subs, mate. Appreciate you guys. Y'all ready to talk about a monthly report? About what you came here for? Star Citizen features and stuff? No? You want to just continue to talk to me? Listen to me? Yeah? Oh, did you come here for me, not Star Citizen? Very appreciated. I would have never guessed. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. Let's talk about Star Citizen. As always, we're going to start with the AI section. AI features, to be specific. Now, the focus for today's monthly report is going to be 3.20 stuff. We're still kind of in that nice period where hearing about the upcoming patch is interesting because it's still just in PTU. However, it's gone to open PTU. We've basically experienced all the new features that are coming with it. So at this point, it's a little bit not as interesting, but it's better than, say, next month's monthly report, which is also going to have a lot of them talking about getting ready for 3.20 going live, even though we will have at that point been playing 3.20 altogether for almost a month. You know what I mean? So like, it's really nice to get a monthly report right at the beginning of a patch cycle, because you're getting a lot of details on the features coming in that patch cycle, which you haven't heard about in ISC or seen the leaks of or seen in PTU, if that makes any sense. Simi Dot, thank you for the membership over on YouTube. Appreciate your support, mate. Hope you enjoyed today's show. All right, so AI features. Last month, AI reviewed perception to fix issues where NPCs wouldn't correctly recognize that a target had died or they'd seen a situation before. Just kind of like poking their buddies with a stick. Like, hey dude, are you actually dead? Hello. Developers are like, no, cut that out. That's a glitch. Don't do that. Don't poke him. These issues led to various bugs, including the AI constantly calling for med pens or remaining in combat after it had finished. It just reminds me of the Battlefield call, like the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 soundbite you would get in the background. Somebody's just like, medic! Constantly, medpen! Medpen! Dude, you're dead. You're dead. Stop, please. Stop asking for medpens. You want to see more places like Whistler's Crypt? Starfield has you enjoying those types of locations, just like little points of interest. They're getting there. They're getting there. Agree with you, though. All right, they also revisited cover usage, polishing various functionality and animations to ensure the feature works across a range of situations and environments. Changes and fixes were also made to the tactical point system, which is used to drive where the AI moves. This will help identify what needs to be adjusted when reviewing combat in new locations. Black Metal Medic, thank you so much for the sub on Twitch. Appreciate you. 1 month at tier 1. 1 for 1, buddy. Balancing was done for AI ammunition usage while maintaining reload and ammo finding functionality to provide realistic and emergent behaviors and gameplay situations. Let me know, by the way, guys, if the music's too loud. Also, it looks like Stream Elements just got another raffle started over on Twitch. So exclamation point join will get you in that. Anytime somebody subs, that'll start up. You can get some points. Right now, they won't do much for you, but we do tie them into things like giveaways and other rewards. So if you're on Twitch, exclamation point join in chat's all you need. the team continued to review, revisit, and polish combat, including low and high level reload animations for different weapons and female animations converted from male assets. They also began developing animations for Marine Squad hand signals to cell group movement and combat. This is a lot of stuff for Squadron 42 application, but things that will also really highly benefit Star Citizen, because we're obviously going to be running into a lot of NPCs in Star Citizen. But AI features are never really something you should expect to see anytime soon in the game. A lot of this stuff is stuff that's getting applied that we can't even really unlock because the servers don't run well enough for AI to run correctly. So this is more stuff to be excited about for after 4.0, 4.1, 4.2 possibly. But let's dive into AI tech. Last month, AI... Oh, God, you know what? You know what I just realized? I have not been recording this. Shame on my part. Whoa! Okay, let's start that. Now, anybody who's watching this on YouTube, you're gonna be a little bit annoyed with me because I started going through this monthly report without remembering to record. Luckily, we only made it to AI Tech before my brain kicked in and I actually hit the button. So, thanks for joining. We're jumping back into the monthly report together now. I think I actually turned off chat, by the way. Let me make sure. There you go. Let me make sure you guys get your stage, your soapbox there. Sound off. All right. Anyways, back into it. AI Tech. Last month, AI Tech added undo and redo functionality to the Apollo subsumption tool. We're stepping into 2001, folks. Undo and redo. Control Z, Control Shift Z to your heart's content. They also began improving subsumption data validation for better presentation and more explicit validation errors. This allows the designers to iterate faster when creating or adjusting missions and behaviors. Y'all already know, I'm not going to go through it again, as I do almost every month. Subsumption is a nice little tool that they can use to drive NPCs. So you got your sort of logic system that runs in a flow graph, and every point that an NPC runs into, I said I wasn't going to go over it. Now here I am, I'm going over it. Basically anything that they run into provides them with multiple choices on how to proceed forward, and different types of NPCs and AI are built out, the company can make them have different flow charts and flow graphs. And that's a guy talking. I literally said I was not going to do that. All right. On the Boyd's feature, mentioned in last month's report, AI Tech continued implementing base functionality to allow agents, such as rats and birds, your secret rats and birds agents, to adopt different states such as wandering, idling, or fleeing. Just got like philosophical rats sitting there, street corners, wondering about the state of spaceships and what we're actually doing to space as we quantum travel across the abyss. Are we polluting space? Maybe in ways that we can't see yet? As the philosophical rat of Hurston, is it your job, your responsibility to guide intelligent species in the right direction? All this because of AI tech. Wandering rats. Sorry, that joke went on for way too long. They're currently looking for a low-cost solution to keep agents on terrain while moving, fleeing and idling and wandering, apparently. For NPC audio perception, the team implemented new functionality for how audio stimuli is propagated. This involves using the room system and how rooms are connected to determine whether an audio event should be heard. So this is if you like trip over a child's toy in a room, or you're sneaking up on somebody to slit their throat and murder them, that audio would be perceived differently as it bounces through a room as opposed to just going through the wall next to you. It's pretty standard kind of stuff. Don't trip on children's toys. Finally, investigation began into performance issues relating to the navigation system and Pathfinder. Okay, AI stuff is interesting, but also not super interesting because we're never going to get it again, or we're never going to get it anytime soon. This is all stuff that we're going to see a couple of years probably down the line, maybe like late next year. But AI stuff honestly is not around the corner type of thing. So as much fun as it is to open up with it, it's not as tangible as some of the other features we're going to get later. So we'll get through animation art. There actually is no engine section either this month, which was strange. I don't think I've ever seen them skip the engine section in a monthly report, but there is none. Instead, we have an economy section. So the next few segments are going to go pretty quick, and then we'll get to features and have some more tangible stuff to talk about. All right, so in animation, in August, the animators worked through a number of behavioral lines for background, ambiance, and flight. They also supported tech animation on creature skeletons that will eventually be used in the PU. Could probably take a look at creatures real quick. We haven't opened up that folder in a while. We've got ourselves the space cow. Everybody loves a space cow. You can't have a space game without a space cow, right? I'm pretty sure that's basically a stretch goal. This is just a gray screen though. Can you produce? There we go. The space cow. I think they're called quasi herders or something like that. But obviously cow-like and very spacey. So, space cow. And then we've got the Pyro stalker. It's a little crab guy thingy here. He's got some little baby ones down there. And no, I'm sorry. This is the Pyro crab. This is the Boreal stalker. Little Yeti looking angry boy thing with claws. This one will be found on Microtech. This one will be found somewhere in Pyro. I don't know. And then we've got this concept, which is not something that has been named or said is going to be in the game. Those other ones I just showed you, those first three, are actually already being worked on and developed in the game, so we know those will exist. This is more just like a concept that they had when they were talking about what they wanted to do with creatures and fauna. But these two and this guy, those will be there at some point. We've also got space whales. The good old space whales, let's see. Which for those of you who are watching Ahsoka, have had plenty of space whale exposure over the last week. Pretty sure I have a picture of one of them somewhere here. Space whale! There it is. Yes. The Stormwall. Star Citizen's own space whales. And these are actually going to be things that are flying around in Crusader, and you'll be able to land on them, do some mining. They have some harvestables on them, like little, scallops, space scallops kind of deal that you can land on and power through, I guess, and take, and sell, and eat. I don't know what you do with them, but space whales will be in the game as well. So there are several features or creatures that they're working on the skeletons of, and by skeletons they just mean the object that can be animated. Still plenty of work to be done on that. Obviously, two-legged AI are still having trouble walking around, so like 4 to no-legged AI maybe should wait a little bit. But expect it. It's going to happen at some point. Sternin or Fosher. Thank you for the sub, mate. Appreciate you. Never knew you were able to land on the storm walls. Yeah, that's something else that they've... You know what? I might have footage of that, actually. Let me see. Space whale. I believe that's something that they said. Yeah, here we go. They've shown off kind of in a little bit of a concept thing of people landed and walking around on the back of these whales. Probably, yeah, I mean, this was probably an unnecessary addition to the space whales. Like, we don't need to be able to land on them, folks. Just have them in the background. Oh, space whales are exciting. People should be excited for them. Should I mean, space whales are probably a reason to play the game on their own. Put it up on the wall. How many days left until space whales? Screw server meshing. Give me my ocean cows. My ocean space cows. Can't really be an ocean cow if you're not in the ocean. Art on the character side. My friends, last month, character art progressed with content for various upcoming events and assets for the Headhunters gang. I'm starting to be a little annoyed by the Headhunters gang. Not gonna lie. We've heard about this gang every month for the last 4 months, and we still know literally nothing about them. Like, we're so opposite of everybody else. We know too much about Ninetales now. We know nothing about Headhunters. No pictures, no biographies, no bibliographies. We just know that they are a gang in the Pyro system, and that's about it. So, Art is still working on them, which is good. They're also working on additional ideas for Headhunters and a medical outfit as well as a new flight suit. So, mainly, they're just... Our art on the character side is not doing too much right now. Just preparing more for Pyro, I guess. Just give you suit lockers and Titan suits. That's it. Nothing else, just suit lockers and Titan suits in the game. I want Suit Locker Simulator. 2953. You want to land on a space whale? Oh, I bet that space whale wants to have you land on them. You ever think about what the space whale wants? Nah, it's cool. I'm sure the space whale's probably out there landing on somebody else. It's always a bigger fish. Alright. Art on the ship's side. This is always a fun segment. This is basically what ships are coming up. Last month, Ship Art completed their work on the Tumbrel Storm, though they're currently focusing on ongoing issues with the treads and how they appear, and 2 new variants of an existing vehicle were completed too. Anybody, I got any fans of the Tumbrel Storm in here? You don't know why suit lockers aren't a thing? They're obviously in Squadron 42. I think it's just the loadout system. The Tumbrel Storm is a small strike vehicle. A relatively small tank. It's still fairly wide, but it's shallower. One-person tank made to move fast, get in, and get out. You can see the size difference between it and the current Nova we have, as well as the Cyclone. It sits right there in the middle, obviously fitting in the same treads as the Nova, as you do when you have 2 tanks sharing the same battalions. Just makes sense. And obviously not as strong in its gun as the Nova. So this is something that's meant for a little bit of a different playstyle. We'll have to see how this thing fares. It's an interesting addition. I'm guessing it's something that was needed for Squadron 42, and they're just adding it into Star Citizen as well. It got created pretty early, pretty quickly. Not early, but it got introduced to us pretty late and created pretty quickly. So probably for Squadron, it's coming into Star Citizen. I think at some point we probably have to have a good talk about the fact that we're playing a game where if you're one of the things that ruined the first Halo for me was the fact that I couldn't fly a Pelican dropship. And I think once I finally got to fly a Pelican dropship, it was in like a modded version of the Halo PC game, like 2004, 2005. It wasn't as special, but I remember one of the things that I just hated was like I couldn't fly that dropship. I very rarely got to fly like a Banshee or something. There were just vehicles in the game that were only meant to be flown by AI in the game, right? That were just there as sight dressing. And that's been true in almost any game I've ever played, especially space games. There's a lot of vehicles in space games. Star Citizen is a game where they're almost not doing that. There are a couple things here and there, like forklifts and stuff. Little rideable mops. I don't know. But for the most part, every vehicle in the game can be flown by a player. So like all of these background vehicles that are made for AI to do something in some sequence, in some level, in some game, are also made completely meticulously so that players can play and use them and obviously spend money on them. And so we have these vehicles that like don't really feel like they fit in anywhere, because they're made more for the NPCs. Like I feel like the Cutlass Steel must be kind of like one of those. The Rock DS feels kind of like something like that. There's also some level of like they got carried away and made a bad vehicle. But in certain situations, I feel like we're kind of leaning into that territory. And the Tumble Storm feels like one of those kinds of vehicles. And I think it's an interesting angle to look at a game from. Is it worth it to have everything be controllable by the players? Do we need this tank in the game? Obviously, maybe they have plans for 2 to 3 years down the line from now when gameplay does call for a tank like that. But from what we've seen from CIG and Star Citizen's development overall, they don't seem to. They have loose plans, but a lot of times the gameplay that comes a few years down the line feels like it wasn't taking into account the things that we understand in hindsight as obviously not being the management. Bruh, Forklift Simulator 2034. Oh man, imagine the customizability in that little forklift RPG. Berk, what's up, man? How you doing? Merhaba. All right. Anyways, that was very, very long on the Tumbril Storm. Let's move on. Those two new variants, as somebody mentioned here in chat, are probably talking about the cutter, but that's leak stuff, so we won't be getting too deep into that. An all-new ship progressed through Whitebox, revealing various areas that require updating from the concept, including an increase to the interior space. This is a solid chance to understand their vernacular in these documents. All-new ship is different from... I don't even think they say it in here. So let's open up the July monthly report and go to the ship art section and see here they say an as yet unannounced ship, obviously different from an all new ship. Also you can see here they say all new vehicle, whereas there's probably somewhere else here they say no, there's no unannounced vehicle. But unannounced, all-new vehicle and ship are important. In here, they are talking about an all-new ship, which means it's not something that hasn't been announced. This is something that we know about. This is some ship that is in concept already, that has an interior, it seems. I'm guessing a slightly smaller ship if they need to increase the interior size of the ship. And they're not talking about making the whole thing bigger. But we don't really have any other sort of hint as to what this could be. So it's something that's new. It's something in concept. And it's something that it sounds like they are just starting on. It's progressed through Whitebox, they're saying. So if we go back to last month's report, new ship variant, another unannounced variant, as yet unannounced ship, no. Team began an all-new vehicle. Yeah, I don't even think they have this on here. All-new vehicle, all-new variant continued. This is a Star Citizen monthly report. I don't think it would be the 600. I think they would just say the 600 outright. Same with the Polaris, because they've been talking about the Polaris by name in the monthly reports recently. MSR? Well, that MSR wouldn't be an all-new ship either. That'd be an update. Might be a flyable RSI Zeus MK2. But the Zeus would be... an unannounced ship, I believe, not an all-new ship. So they've never announced, they've never announced a Zeus concept. It just exists in the lore. Whatever this is, at least from how they're talking about it, they've already talked about it before. But yeah, I don't know. Apollo? Maybe? We know that the Apollo was going to start to be worked on. I don't believe it's quite at the stage that they would want to work on it, though. But I can't think of anything else that might have an interior be on the smaller side. Dunno. Maybe the industry ship that they talked about? Yeah, maybe it's one of those ships, the RSI Miner or something. No idea what it could be. Chuck your guesses in the comments, I guess, for those who are watching this after the fact. The next ship that they were working on, though, was the Aopoa Santokiai. Almost Lot 0 complete. Final updates are underway, including polishing the pilot compartment. The damage pass is also in progress, while the rest of the Lot 0 tasks are closed out. Once complete, the team will move on to paints. We've been talking about this one for a while now. This is actually... Man, we were like back in April. This ship was going through, and I guess there was still some speculation that this might be coming up for Alien Week. It never got not even close. And look at this, they're just now finishing it up in September, 2 to 3 months after Alien Week. This one might be coming for IAE. I don't think this will come in 3.20, but maybe they'll decide to slip it in for CitizenCon. Still, we can't really tell where it is. Only just now becoming Lot 0 complete. They're not talking about like damage maps or anything like that. So I think there's still a little bit of work to be done on it. But yeah, sometimes you think these are coming around a lot sooner than they were. All fun and games till CIG announced the Kraken at CitizenCon. In the cutter supposed to get a variant? That is a leak rumor, yes. There is one ship that already has all of its basic gameplay mechanics, but it's huge, the Odyssey. Except for refining. Misk Expanse would be cool for the new ship. I wanted to try and avoid getting myself hyped and mentioning that, but I would love if the Expanse was up there. I've actually got a video coming out later this week that describes how refining gameplay is going to work and sort of places it into the overall industrial game loop that makes up, I think, the backbone of Star Citizen. It lays out just how much the game, like this game, is going to become a game of very quickly, with some of the stuff that we're seeing sort of almost sneaky backup. I mean, it's not sneaky because we've all been here watching this, dealing with the slow progress of Star Citizen for such a long time. I think it's changed our expectations a bit and allows us to get hyped by very small things. And when those very small things come into the game and they're not as big as we might perceive in our head because we've waited so long for something significant, it's easy to then look at it and say, okay, well, that's just that. It just fades into the game. This is just another addition that's there, but not really making much of a difference. And it's not wrong. Salvage in the game, and it makes some difference, but for most people, not much. AI walking around on the ground is in-game, not really doing much. Mining in-game is definitely more significant than other stuff, but still, you get what I mean. Like, it's easy to forget how much of this stuff could add up. With refining gameplay coming into the game, you suddenly have the ability to have 20 people on a moon, mining, refining, transporting, selling, refueling, and rearming your escort, all without ever going to a space station, without ever respawning any ships, without ever buying stuff from some store. Completely self-contained in a sandbox environment. And that's like one possible scenario all after, just because refining gets brought in. And this is all being built up with the cargo refactor, with mining getting the resource rebalances, with the tractor beams able to control ship components and mining bags and stuff. And it's like really low key, super coming together. And I think all it's going to take is probably some stability from server meshing, an economy update, and like refining and crafting. So that's my little spiel about it for this. Write it down, take some notes. I got a video coming out about that on the main channel though, towards the end of the week. And I'm excited about it because if this was the Expanse for some reason, it'd be very cool to know that it's getting through white box. Maybe that means, mid next year we might be seeing it. Today in ISC? Yeah, there should be ISC today, huh? Maybe if that comes out before I finish streaming, we can go over that. Izzy! Hello. Hey. How's it going? Welcome. Switch that Twitch sub over to a YouTube sub. We can't call them subs on YouTube because they've got subs, On YouTube, it's membership, which is kind of a bummer because you can't rhyme membership with club. It's like membership club doesn't roll off the tongue. Hull scraping does not equal salvage missing munching. Indeed. But, shooting laser at rock didn't really equal mining. You're missing a lot of other stuff that made it better. It's kind of the initial implementation of salvage is a link on the chain. But yeah, munching and siphoning are definitely something that needs to be there. We also have components, though. Components and cargo removal is a big part of salvage. And that is in the game as well. When was the last time we heard about VIP transport? CitizenCon, almost 2 years ago now. Probably a server meshing thing, though, yeah. I am going to CitizenCon this year. I will be there. You guys will see me. And I'll see you. And together we will be seen. We will be witnessed. Members, embers. Whistlelock? I have not heard the name Whistlelock before. They make YouTube stuff? Pirate Week starts today. Is there a Pirate Week? Hey, Very Gris, thank you for the Prime sub on Twitch. Really appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Much love, friend. After the upgrades to mining, you're willing to give CIG the benefit of the doubt. I think they're very slowly, they are proving that they can make an interesting and engaging game system. I still think they need to really hit something coming out the park. I'm hoping hacking might be that something. Maybe Bounty Hunting V2 will prove it, but they need to release a game system that is definitive proof that they've got it handled. And then they need to release server meshing. Those two things down, I think the writing has been okay enough that we know we can depend on writing for good missions. It really comes down to management, making the system, making the project work. But they're starting to prove out some stuff. Backend tech, rendering possibilities, the engine being built, some of the gameplay systems, some of the stuff's coming together. Slowly but surely. Alright, so for those who didn't know, this is the Santaki I was talking about real quick. Little spindly looking alien grasshopper looking kind of thingy. Related to the Cartual, which you may know and love. Aopoa. This is a ship that comes from one of the alien species in the game, the Xion. They like hovery things and little sneaky bits. Really would have figured I had more shots of this thing. But I guess not. Oh, we'll definitely have some tomato outfits at CitizenCon. I wouldn't say no, not good writing for missions. Just good writing in general. Decent writing. Mainly that's more with their cinematic pieces, the lore stories. Not so much the in-game stuff just yet. But as we'll see with the narrative team on the monthly reports here, they're really only starting to write the stuff for in-game. So I haven't been too tuned in to the mission stuff in-game. I don't think it's that great, but I do think that they've got what it takes to make them pretty good. Anyways, last but not least, the Origin X1 is currently waiting white box review. Though significant changes to item locations have already been made to maximize space, modeling of the gray box geometry began too. The Origin X1 is our last hover bike, folks. At least the last one until they introduce another one. It is made by Origin. It was supposed to be in game much before this, as this was supposed to be a ship that works with the 400i. There's actually a little cubby in the 400i specifically made for this ship. It's got 3 different variants, a racing one, a combat one, and a general touring one. Pretty good looking ship. It's a little bit weird in its just construction and the design, but as you can see, you sit facing this way towards the right. And yeah. It came out for the 400i, but there is a specific... I might actually have this up. Let's see. There's a little... the 400i was made... Or the X1 in lore is made for the 400i. See if they show it off here. No. Yeah, there's like a little cubby right here that lowers down and you could put your hover bike in it. But I don't think I have any shots of that. No, I guess not. I got nothing. Well, anyways, there is a little cubby there, as it was technically made for the ship, and they just took a long time to get it in. Aren't we just waiting on CIG to finish the rework of the console HUD for that ship for the Centauri? It sounds like they're still doing some Lot Zero work on it. Couldn't care less about missions or story. Here for the sandbox elements and player content. Plenty of games do story. That's fair. Some people are only here for the sandbox. Alright, skipping over community. Love community, but well, yeah. Economy team. Welcome to the economy. This is going to be a new segment of our monthly reports we go over every month. One that I wish had started earlier, but I am very glad to finally have a magnifying glass on economy and not have some little mention, some half a sentence mention of economy in the systemic services and tools team. Now we know they're focusing on the economy itself. So let's hear what they've got. The new economy team planned their upcoming goals, including rebalancing cargo and the related experience. They also began building a tool to investigate the current state of cargo, which could be expanded to other areas of the in-game economy. So they're planning upcoming goals, specifically, it says including, but I feel like it's more specifically rebalancing cargo and the related experience. So this could mean commodity pricing, sell pricing, buy pricing. This is very general what they're saying here. We don't know exactly what this means, but they are working on the economy from the cargo angle. Generally, that means something to do with trading. This is good. This is one of the least attended to parts of the game that makes a huge difference, and something that they've been talking about doing for a while now and just haven't been. I hope we can hear more about this at CitizenCon, though, because it's now been almost 2 years since we've gotten a decent update on their plans for the economy. I think at this point, they should start telling us more about what's being implemented and what isn't. Rebalancing cargo in relationship to freight elevators and manual loading. Yeah. This is a bar citizen, it looks like, in Cologne, Germany. Hate when they are so broad and uninformative on such an important subject. Yeah, they're really wishy-washy about the economy, which is frustrating. I feel like they do caption it. Oh, no, just when somebody captures it. I guess it's just whatever is most next to the picture. All right, Arena Commander features. Yeah, no engine section this month, which was weird. But the Arena Commander features team polished and supported Alpha 3.20 while beginning Stage 2 of the Arena Commander revitalization plan. Alongside each patchwork, the engineering team supported the new top heads-up display, which will feature in all game modes from Alpha 3.20. Not sure what the new top heads-up display is, but okay. They also assisted the ongoing investigation into the return of theaters of war. That was supposed to be a lot more epic of a reveal. The return of theaters of war. Return. The introduction of? This involved identifying the steps needed to update the new spawning module with several unique theaters of war features and bring them into other game modes. Assume that's the HUD we see in the new master modes demo. I don't know, because they said that they wanted to get rid of that HUD. I'm not sure why they said top heads-up display as opposed to just heads-up display. All right, they also assisted... Oh, no, sorry, we already did that. Moving on, work continued on the new custom lobbies feature. I need to turn this fan up. It is getting warm in here. Give me a second. There we go. Bit of a breeze. They added a new HUD to the 3.20 PU. Wait, really? They updated the HUD? What? Theaters of War is supposed to be an Arena Commander. Yeah, not in the PU. Okay. Work continued on the new custom lobbies feature, with several successful tests conducted. Now, people have talked about closed servers, private servers in this game. I will continue to say I don't think that they're going to do private servers for the persistent universe. Maybe there's a way to do it. Seems like it would be more of a pain than it's worth to try and do it. Maybe sometime well down the line it'll be a thing. But I think if anything, it's more likely that we'll get private servers that are set in these sorts of instances, private matches, little segments of PU areas that we can cut off for ourselves and play with, but not actual running versions of the persistent universe. You know, you don't have fully functional AIs and mission givers and missions you can do and quantum and all this stuff. It's just literally private servers like this. But we'll see. The team are currently focusing on finalizing the UI design and hooking up the various interactions. Engineering began restoring the Spectator Module 2, which will allow players to spectate matches in custom lobbies and other modes. For example, spectating a player who has lost all their respawns in a PvE game mode. That's going to be nice. Spectator mode is a good one to have back, especially for things like esports. Was talking to Croncy the other day on the podcast, Launch Sequence podcast on this channel, and he was talking about how nice a spectator mode is. That on top of private matches is going to be great for running events like Atmo Esports does. What it is? You know what? I know why I'm not hearing sound effects from you guys. Wait for it. There we go. Yeah, I had my line in unplugged. Apparently they can also now do mining in AC at the racetrack on a planet. I was going to say mining, salvaging Basically, breaking out any type of gameplay and putting it in a private lobby seems like a win-win for this game. Adoa, love your live and videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you've been enjoying this one. Hope you're having a good day too. It is Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Thursday. I almost lied. But you guys keep me true. It is Thursday, which is better than Wednesday. Not as much of a hump. All right, the team also addressed a large collection of feedback from the Evocati and PTU regarding the front end and game modes. The front end game mode selection now shows which modes are new, which have REC multipliers, and which have achievements associated with them. Love some achievements. Design also progressed with the spawn screen UI for in-game vehicle selection, which began internal testing. Finally, the team helped create several new game modes requested by other teams, including a 2v2 mode that will host fight or flight at CitizenCon. Who's going to be there? Who's trying to compete in fight or flight at CitizenCon? Anybody in chat? I will at least be at CitizenCon to say hi to people who are competing, but I won't be in it myself. You all have seen me fight. It's mainly just flight for me. And even then, that flight usually ends in the surface of a moon or something. Space station. Another person. Is it Wednesday somewhere? Is it? Features for the characters and weapons. We love these. We are characters, and we have weapons. August saw the characters and weapons team working on weapon poses. Currently, when a player approaches a collision surface, their equipped weapon is raised to avoid clipping through the geometry. Like so. Huh. This is kind of like, this is a gun. Huh. The team explored alternatives where the weapon is lowered, moved to the bottom of the first-person view, and rotated towards the body so that it lies diagonally across the abdomen. Like so. This is not a great display of this, but it's as good as I can do. This is more natural in certain situations, clearly not this one. Limits clipping and ensures the majority of the player's view is unobscured, particularly when interacting with screens in the environment. It's literally just your weapon moves in a different way when you run into something. 3.21 should really be on the release view by now. Yo, you telling me? I'm pretty sure we were all under the understanding that they were going to show 2 quarters at a time on the release view, but they pretty quickly just went to 1 quarter at all times, no matter what. Sometimes no quarters, because, I mean, like you've now said, it's probably going to go live, right? They always do this. 3.20 is going to go live before 3.21 ends up on the release view, and technically there will be no quarters shown on the roadmap. It's frustrating. All right, procedural recoil also progressed last month. To ensure that the feel of each weapon can be tweaked to make it feel unique, a large number of curves were exposed to the content creators. So it's basically just another tool to allow folks that are actually making the weapons to make them feel better, higher quality, more different from other weapons. Pretty good. And they're going to expose those to the content creators. I heard that Mr. Beast is getting involved. MKBHD, Casey Neistat. They're bringing in, yeah, different content creators for the recoil curves. Sorry, that was a bad one too. Today was Battlefield style AC mode. Hey Adam, how's it going? These curves allow multiple layers of subtle movement and rotation to be overlaid to create a wide range of interesting results. It is a bit of a manual process and requires significant attention to detail, but it can add a lot to the personality of a weapon. That's good. I'm not a big fan of the weapon feels in the game right now. I think there's still plenty of work that needs to be done on them. More small things are leading to less big things. Or more big things, I guess. So that's good. I like big things. Somebody's probably going to use that as a soundbite on our Discord server. Maybe they're not here. We'll see. I'll probably hear that one coming up sometime this week. All right, features on the gameplay side. They continued their ongoing work on the vehicle tractor beam feature, readying it for testing by Q&A. They also progressed with the resource network mentioned in last month's report and reported the upcoming patch release. Okay, so the tractor beam stuff is good. It's just now going to testing with QA. It's really feeling... I'm feeling more and more like the stuff they showed us on Inside Star Citizen in the first half of this year, despite being so few and far between. We got no sprint reports. We actually had a lot of like placeholder ISC episodes. The little bit of things they did show us were premature, which is just... it makes me feel even more annoyed about the information drought that we've had this year. They had such a setback. I mean, that's what this kind of stuff is telling me. If they've got QA getting ready to test vehicle tractor beams, which were being shown in ISC 3+ months ago, in addition to investigation missions, which had the design brief. Yeah, these are... there was a decent amount of stuff. What else was shown towards the beginning of this year? The derelict outposts were shown a few times in the same way. Yeah, just a hefty amount of stuff that was not anywhere close to being ready to go in game, which is a little different than they did inside Star Citizen last year. I think we just ended up in such a weird situation with whatever happened with persistent entity streaming. And they did talk about that with the postmortem, but I think maybe they could have opened up a little bit more to help share with people how big a deal it is. A lot of this stuff feels like it was set back quite a bit. Like multiple months. Mrs. T clipped it. Wonderful. Is today cargo hauling info on ISC? I believe it is. Yeah. More like 6 months ago. It was like April, right? April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, it's okay. 6 months. You're right. I mean, yeah, that is wild. And that's on top of already the information sort of, I won't say drought, but like shortage that we've had this year. Just very... oh man, this is not a good year for feature progression. I'll say that much. We need bed logging at settlements and outposts. We do. We also need our ability to carry around our own bedroll or something. A little sleeping bag, little pouch, little space pouch. If they can get the foot combat game modes to be good, you bet you could get a bunch of friends to play. It'll be strange when they'll have to buy a spaceship, which they'll have no interest in using to play gun games. We need to have a no ship game package. That's very, very clear about what it includes. All right, let's move on to features on the mission side of things. A little more positive than gameplay. The mission features team spent the month working through their upcoming deliverables and bug fixing for Alpha 3.20. Bug fixing. Away from the upcoming patch, Siege of Orison received various improvements ahead of a future release, with the main focus being keeping players together. Development of Blockade Runner, which will be replacing Ninetales Lockdown, continued too, with various technical issues considered and planned for. Wonder how Blockade Runner will work. I do hope that it actually puts you in a situation where you have to run the blockade. That's cool. Significant improvements were made to the existing Destroy Drug Stash missions to ensure mission-critical items are spawned when the player arrives. They also made great progress in modularizing the new player experience so that it can be used in any landing zone with the correct markup. The steal evidence at Korea and retrieve consignment missions entered the polish phase, with reputation being hooked up. Work also began on ship restoration missions, which will require players to restore ships to saleable condition. That's an interesting one. That's kind of a first repair style mission, right? I wonder to what extent they're going to ask us to get it back to saleable condition. Does that mean putting new weapons on it, putting in new components, putting on reattaching attachments, or is this literally just using the opposite of hull scraping? Because is that saleable condition? Just patching it up with metal? Or could this mean that they are going a little bit further with repair gameplay sometime in the next 6 months and they're preparing missions for it? I don't feel like they would do that without mentioning repair gameplay also in development. So I'm going to go with the former. But we'll keep an eye on these ship restoration missions to see where they go. The data heist mission also passed another gate review and will enter internal playtesting to ensure the objectives are clear sometime soon, TM. How do you know what wave the patch is in and if you are a backer? To find out if you are a backer, just go to your account up here, log in, and you can see your hanger if you have a game package or not. It'll specifically say on that package too, this gives you access to the game. You can repair guns and turrets already, just no mission, only personally applied. Yeah. Right, you have to go and do the whole landing and stuff. There's like a whole huge repair gameplay loop that they want to build in. But I don't know if I don't know where they are with that. That's behind refining. It's behind engineering, so who knows? Let's see, where were we? The ship cargo and steal or recover hauling mission has been taken as far as it can until further cargo features are developed. In the meantime, we will make a courier version in which small items are the objective as well. So a mission where you have to either steal or recover cargo, take it with you and turn it in somewhere else could be a very big deal as far as a mission module goes, being attached to other things. So imagine you have an investigation mission module, which has you going to a derelict ship, finding certain keys and maybe a data pad that leads to another mission in the distant future, and also a specific piece of cargo, which then triggers one of these cargo recovery missions modules. So you go from an investigation mission module to a cargo recovery module. You then get to the destination where you drop off your cargo. That mission giver gives you a little bit more on top of that to, let's say, steal some data. Suddenly you're in a data heist module and you end up running into a underground facility that's constantly spawning in Ninetales people. This mission then tanks your Ninetales reputation, which gets you involved in other faction missions based off of that. That's the kind of stuff I can't wait to see from all these missions that they're putting together. You can tell that's the direction they're going in, especially with the team talking about the way that these are modules and they're meant to work together. But until we have like the AI narrative to back that up, the reputation system to account for that, and a more stable game to actually play it in, it's just a pipe dream. But you can see it headed in that direction. And I think that's one of the things that I've loved doing in Starfield is like getting to see how space-based missions can run together in a world like that, and imagining it with the factions and the ships that I'm used to. The rivers and the lakes that you're used to. All right, the team progressed with reputation-based hostility. Speaking of that, devising a mission that allows players to work for the Ninetales gang. Once completed, they'll convert most of the nameless criminal missions to Ninetales until further gangs are added, like the headhunters that we hear about. So that's going to be great. Having all of those nameless missions have a real face behind them, a group that you know you're associating with if you take them. Solid. I do hope that this isn't all based on a mission they're devising and it's more based on reputation, hostility. But we'll have to see how this all goes out. Reputation system's a big one for this game. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to kind of change the way that we play the game for sure as the main form of progression. So we'll keep an eye on that. Glad to see, though, that the missions team who got saddled with Reputation earlier this year is making some good progress on it. All right, code work was completed on the highlighting and filtering of mission critical items in the inventory. This was handed to UI for their pass, and finally tasks for ship trespass progressed, with nested trespassing being the main thing holding it back. Basically, how do you trespass on a ship that might already be landed on your ship, which you're not trespassing on? That would be interesting. Like if you're trespassing on somebody's ship and then they land inside of your ship, does that technically mean you're not trespassing anymore? Fun stuff. Features on the vehicle side. Last month, the team assisted with bug fixing instability for Alpha 3.20 and beyond, including getting the MISC Hull C ready for release and completing smaller feature work for upcoming ship releases. The designers then tuned how racing ships perform in atmosphere to bring them closer together and converted more ground vehicles to the new physics model. Love things getting converted to new physics. I have not really tried out the new ground physics stuff. Maybe we can do that tomorrow or the day after when we get in game. The mass of size 1, 2, and 3 items were rebalanced for better consistency across ship loadouts and to improve the tractor beam gameplay of removing and replacing items. Smaller vehicle and weapon balance tweaks were also made. Hey, caught that TLC reference. Right, so you can trade out guns and turrets. Do you think that would be what they're talking about when it comes to repair? Just trading things out and not actually repair gameplay? Cameron did a video about the ground vehicles, a step in the right direction, but still needs a lot of work. I'm not super happy with that anymore, you know? We've been doing step in the right direction, but needs a lot of work for a while now. We're getting to the point, I think, where it needs to be. This is it. Like, we're at this point where it needs to be good. Hover vehicles, I think, are at that point as far as an alpha implementation goes. I think they're pretty good. Ground vehicles need to do the same. That's frustrating. I hope that the improvements that they need we can see in subsequent patches rather than like 3 or 4 years from now, you know? All right. Graphics. In August, improvements were made to the internal implementation of temporal super resolution. That's good to hear. Further progress was made on water, with the shader gaining improved lighting and foam. Work on the simulation continued too, with foam propagation and bullet impact support being added. Love that foam propagation. Ooh, show me that foam moving on the water. The prototype of the glint shading model was completed and comes in 3 versions with different performance characteristics. The team are now investigating whether they can take one of these into production. Distant lights are now drawn as tiny bright glows that pass through the existing post-effect system with the aim of replacing the more traditional composite flare system that can't support post-effects. Okay. On the tooling side, the streaming debugger was expanded and now provides a powerful tool to track the detailed history of any asset or group to diagnose issues and facilitate optimizations. The mesh setup editor was also expanded to allow finer-grained control of how animated meshes are imported. Do you want an ISC on bedsheet simulation? Hey, you know what I was thinking? I'm actually thinking I'm going to find an example of bedsheet deformation in Starfield and then make a controversial article about it. I mean, I'm guessing that there is at some point AI get into bed in that game, which would be like the same kind of thing. The Vulcan sub-team added a new extensions, interesting, including Synchronization 2, Maintenance 4, and Timeline Semaphore to improve various aspects of the back end. Focus is now shifting to unblocking progress on global illumination, as the ray tracing component is Vulcan only. The VFX programming team implemented smoke spawning on fire along with various other quality improvements to bring the feature to a visually complete and, quote, rather impressive state. I gotta say, what I saw of the fire the last time they showed it wasn't, I think, as impressive as the first previous stuff they showed of fires. But I'm gonna hold judgment. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Finally, further improvements to lightning effects were made, which will be used in the future within gas clouds. They just sleep above the covers like savages. Oh, jeez. Animals. In-game branding. Basically, they were working on underground facility exteriors. They're also working closely with EU locations too on an upcoming event and progressed with some event-related add-ons. This looks like Microtech. I'm not sure why they're showing us... Oh, this is the new signage. Interesting that they didn't specifically mention work going into Microtech signage, but that's what they're showing here in the picture. And I believe this is kind of a bit of a teaser that the next place we see the new player experience will be Microtech. Interactables last month saw work on Pyro's rundown space station alongside various flare items. Still a lot of work going into Pyro. Lighting team continued to contribute to Pyro, working on tasks for the Colonialism Outpost and rundown stations. Live Tools also working on Pyro. No, I'm not. They weren't working on Pyro. In August, the Live Tools team released a new version of the crash handling pipeline, which is now in the maintenance phase. For Hex's Network Operations Center, they worked on general navigation to improve the quality of life for its main users. This included redesigning elements of the discipline module and entity graph. We love an entity graph name drop. Makes you feel real important. Locations-wise, the locations team progressed across various areas last month, including the rundown station and colonialism outposts for Pyro. They also worked on signage and dioramas for an upcoming event. The organics team continued to build Pyro's planets, including foliage, while the sandbox team moved the new underground facilities through Greybox. Locations team, I like that they're getting to work on the underground facilities. I hope they talk a little bit more about this rundown station they keep talking about, because they're saying that in almost every one of these categories, and we know for a fact now it's not Ruin Station. It's like the Outlaw space stations they were talking about before. They changed the archetype name to Rundown Station. And their focus is now working on that archetype specifically. But we don't know. They haven't really said too much about that. On the narrative side of things, the team is continuing to focus on Pyro. Surprise! Writing multiple missions and crafting strings to populate new locations with everything from signage to food items. In Stanton, several new mission types were worked on and improvements were made to existing content. We don't know if those are the same several new mission types that are being worked on by the missions features team, or if this is before missions features team and we have another wave of new missions being worked on after these ones we're going to see in the next couple updates. This is the August monthly report. September monthly report would come out in the beginning of October. Dear Davis, thanks for the sub, mate. Appreciate your support on Twitch. Hope you're enjoying the stream. The narrative team also worked on NPC behaviors for Pyro and continued to explore how to make NPC behaviors feel unique across the various landing zones. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. There are plenty of games with different locations, and NPCs in different locations will act a little bit different. But there's certainly a line of believability in what those actions are and how different they are. You know, if I go to Hurston, I would think that people would act differently when I walk past them, maybe bump into them, maybe squeeze past them in a doorway than they would if I went to Microtech, right? But I'm not going to expect people who are in Hurston to like have a different walking style than people in Microtech, you know? Like, you got to pick and choose how these differences are shown in game. And I'm glad the narrative team is putting some good thought into that. Not to say that they're like dedicating days to this or anything like that, but it gets a mention at least. All right, besides that, it was just website stuff. They published a couple pieces of lore and answered some questions. Lore Makers community questions coming up soon, which will be nice to see. I'm actually going to open that for later. Online services. In August, the online services team worked towards finalizing the design and approach for updating several legacy backend social services to gRPC. gRPC is a Google-backed language that is used for, I believe, entity storage and networking. This is something that they mentioned when they first were getting persistent entity streaming working. They mentioned that they switched over to this language as opposed to using their own, just because of the support, the feasibility, and that it had been around for such a long time. As a quality of life update, the team added new social menu options, with players now able to enable or disable friend requests and friend request notifications, and choose who they receive party invite notifications and currency transfers from. That's pretty big. Believe it or not, currency transfers can actually mess you up if you're trying to play the game without support. Not to say that, people appreciate support, but sometimes you'll get stuff and obviously it's against the rules for you to get it. That, in addition to like party notifications and friend requests, and hopefully this means call blocking as well, is a beginning of self-moderation in this game, which this game has very, very much lacked. It's been a pain point and something that people have complained about. Very good to see that we're getting some self-moderation tools now. Hopefully those continue as the game becomes more of a service that people are playing regularly, and a more popular service where we're getting more trolls. But this is good news. Updates were also made to the discipline service, which is necessary for future anti-cheat enforcement and sanction updates. Iron Wolf, how you doing? All right, on the R&D section, in August, work on the temporal render mode for atmosphere and volumetric clouds continued. Various methods to rectify or reject frame history were experimented with. Furthermore, a new disocclusion detection system to reject history was implemented that, in spirit, is similar to the general upsampling solution. Additionally, various code was updated to work with recent Gen 12 improvements. On the UI side of things, as part of the development of Pyro, the UI team created fluff screens and converted Flash animations into fluff screens. Anybody know what fluff screens are? That just like extra eye candy, basically. They also supported mission features on data heist by uplifting the screen style. Man, they're saying they're being so quiet about the UI updates we know need to be done. MFDs, star map, ship HUDs, FPS radar and scanning. Just like very much no mentions of that kind of stuff for basically the whole year when it comes to the Star Citizen monthly reports. Very strange. Finally, from the VFX department, last month, the team continued working on various Pyro locations, including some with animated machinery. Pyro is clearly still a big focus. They're still doing quite a bit of work on it. It is getting close. I think much of what we're seeing be done now is past locations, past cities, past outposts, past planets. This is more of the AI, the missions, the narrative, the branding, the VFX. This is the extra stuff on top. Stuff that would have there was no way was going to be ready this year. So again, you either have to assume that they woefully underestimated how much time it would take to complete this system, which I do think they did at some point between now and 2020, but also hopefully the more likely scenario, understood that they wouldn't have this done this year and planned all of this work accordingly to take advantage of the extra time. Either way, still work going on with Pyro. Plenty of work going on with things like gameplay. A lot of mission stuff going on as always. I think this has been the biggest change in development over the last year, is how much work is going into applying the gameplay we're seeing into actual missions, which is better news than we've had in a long time. A lot of quality of life stuff going on when it comes to characters, things we've seen earlier this year, like inventory stuff, EVA T2, platforming improvements, better first-person animations and stuff like that. Just in general, good quality of life stuff happening. The self-moderation stuff is really good to see. And yeah, I mean, honestly, in terms of highlights, that's really it. There wasn't as much gameplay features as we normally like to see in these updates. It's a very small amount this month, but it's a small month. They're holding things back for CitizenCon, and I think they're pretty busy. Look at how late we got this in the month anyways. This is an afterthought. It's probably always an afterthought for them, but this one especially so. It's like halfway through the month literally, and we just got this. Things to keep an eye on in the next few months as we continue to get these monthly reports. Underground facilities, I think we might see these going to a pretty advanced stage sometime soon. Narrative team seems to have some interesting stuff to say, and I think we could expect something from them sometime soon. Economy team, just getting started, will obviously be pretty interesting in the next few months. And as always, keep an eye on the gameplay and mission features teams. They are telling us a lot of stuff coming in the next couple patches. But that about does it for this monthly report, folks. If you didn't get to or didn't want to sit through this whole thing, I will have a more polished version of this coming out sometime probably in the next week and a half. And if you need something even more detailed than this, I can't help you. I'm sorry. I spent plenty of time here. I would say click the link and check it out yourself. Maybe read through it a couple times. Maybe read through it backwards. Maybe replace every A with a 4 and try to read it that way. That'll give you plenty of time with this. Good bonding time. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll see you all in the next one. And for y'all over on Twitter. Oh, no, looks like we might be better now. Apparently, stopping the recording on this computer might be a little bit too much for the computer. Can you guys still see me? I'm not seeing any messages anymore. Everything might be over. We might be completely dead now. Oh, you can see me. Okay, cool. Just making sure. I thought all of chat had stopped, but it was just literally that all of chat had stopped. A bit odd topic. Could I tell you what mic I'm using in my audio settings? I am on the Shure MV7, and my audio settings, I mean, it's really just I'm using some extra gain here. Probably. I've got some makeup gain, yeah, about 6 decibels of makeup gain. 61 decibels on recording. This thing takes a lot of power draw. Not as much as I get from the Go XLR. Just didn't like me enough to talk. That's fine. I mean, it's cool if you want to just like not think anybody is actually there. Just think you're talking to yourself. Anyone getting frame hitches? Yeah, my video is remuxing right now in the background, the recording I just took. So for the next probably minute or two, you're going to be getting some frame hitches. Are we going to watch ISC now? Is it out? If they actually put one out, we can watch it, yeah. As you can see, I have not watched a lot of the last few things they've put out. I see a Pirate Week video. I'm not seeing any ISC though. Mrs. Tomato is looking for some new things to pull up for our streamathon this month. Things to do that will make me hate myself. Like filling hot peppers with sour cream and eating them all in one bite. Ew. That's gross. Don't do that, folks. Please. Thanks. Yeah, there's no ISC out. So I guess not really time to go over it, but I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you do for fun? Like I didn't really have anything else planned after the monthly report. I did hope that the ISC would be out, but it's looking like that's a nope. That's a nope. So unless anybody's got like more questions and stuff to go over. When could 3.20 be live? I think as early as next week. If they just went to the open PTU, that surprises me. I am genuinely surprised that they did that. I'm going to have to go back to Port Olisar this week. You just have to land at Port Olisar, right? In live, in order to get the little badge. Okay, let's not do that. We've got some a wee bit of spam in Twitch. What badge? I think there's a badge you can get on Spectrum if you go visit Port Olisar before it's gone. Thank you, Plywood. I knew I could depend on you. Yeah, I think you get a badge on Spectrum if you go to Port Olisar in 3.19 before the 3.20 update. I don't think there's any wipe coming in 3.20, but I don't. Then again, they would have to mention that, and maybe they have. Maybe they have, and I missed it. Let's see if I can find it. We have no idea. Have they not confirmed one way or another yet? Is Arena Commander broken for anyone else on live or PTU? Is this not going to load? You just not going to load, Star Citizen? Pisces or Aurora MR for starter? If price isn't an option, then the Pisces all the way, every time. Love a Pisces. All right, let's see. Monthly report, PTU patch notes. Website is buggish. Yeah, something going on. Did they just start a sale on the website or something? Played PTU Wave 4 and it was so bad you had to revert. Hope Live is much better. Okay, so it sounds like it's the PTU Arena Commander that's not going well. Maybe their backend services overall are just getting sluggish. Just off of a sale, though, feels a little weird. If you click it, the interface is all weird and you can't click anything and it's only offline. Yeah, the website's not doing too well either. Guessing their backend is hurting. It's open PTU, but that happened a while ago, right? That was like 20 hours ago. Guess you just have to play some Starfield. I've got some writing to do, actually. I want to get this monthly report video out sooner than I normally get them out. And I need to get started on my Starfield review. Starfield review. Got an exclusive video coming out for supporters, Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube supporters at the end of the month. I've got 2 videos coming out. One about refining gameplay. The other one about server meshing and object container streaming and why Starfield could not do seamless planetary entry. And I also want to get a video started about 3.20's features. So I got a lot of writing to do, to be honest. Not much playing for me in the next week ahead. But it looks like, I mean, they're not going to talk about a wipe on this patch on the PTU. This is a server crash quality of life update. Server crash recovery has been updated for PES to now remember the last location the ship hailed for landing and landed/docked at. This will allow players who hit a server crash to have their ship spawn back at the last hailed location instead of their chosen home location. That's pretty nice. All you have to do is call in. You don't even have to land there. I do script my videos, yes. Spent the last 2 days trying to get Star Citizen to run or install on your computer. So you're back on Starfield. That's fair. It can be a little bit of a frustration getting it to run smoothly. Your performance on 319 Live is bad right now. So it might be their own thing, their back-end stuff right now. Can't get past loading into the main menu. That's rough. You basically did everything you can do. Weird. Anyone want to bet that PTU will be on PTU, or 4.0 will be on PTU for Christmas? I think that might be a little optimistic. But hey, you never know. It could always happen. How am I feeling about that leaked email from Aaron Roberts? I didn't read too much into it. I think it said something about 4.0 not being this year or something. Makes sense. Makes sense quite a bit. I think that it mentioned briefly how Starfield makes them feel confident about Star Citizen's tech, which, I mean, they should. It does kind of prove out the amount of work and effort that goes into the tech behind Star Citizen. Doesn't necessarily prove out that they've leveraged it as well as they should, though. So, a little bit of truth there. Definitely setting the stage. But a lot of work to be done on this game. Full dynamic server meshing and Pyro for 3.20 Live. Just like, bam. They're just going to whip out all the best, all the hits. Greatest hits of the 2010s and drop them all in a patch last minute. It was saying 3.20.1 before CitizenCon, then 3.20.2 before IAE, then 3.21 end of year patch. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's what I was thinking it was going to be. .20.1 makes complete sense for CitizenCon. And then 20.2 makes sense for IAE because you want to get the new ships in and the new updates, and you need to drop a patch that preps the convention center anyways. So there would have to be a patch for IAE. And then the end of year patch always comes in December. So yeah. If you answered me and I missed it, what'd you ask, Cantor? I have lost your question now. It's got to be way up there. You were surprised by how bad the space combat was in Starfield. Guess you've had it too good for too long. Yeah, they definitely had to find a casual element and make it fun. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they did with it. I'm still trying to feel it out. It's not super fun to me though. It's not something that I always want to do, but that's not something I always want to do in any space game. So, might not be the best to ask about that. Oh, my mic usage is the Shure MV7, and my audio settings are just I just mess with the gain to get it to come through the Go XLR correctly. All right, folks. Well, with that, not many questions coming in. We got through our monthly report. We talked about what's good and what's not. I think tomorrow I'm going to get into the stream and actually be playing. So we'll be on here for a few more hours. We're still getting things kind of set up. So I'm taking today's a little bit shorter. Going to keep doing some writing and getting some video work done. But you guys should expect some stuff from me over the next few days with getting back to the regular streams. Definitely with playing the actual PTU tomorrow. Same time, same place. Streams are starting a couple hours later than they normally do over in Turkey, and that'll be true up until February of next year, so get used to it, y'all. And if you are in the org and want to join me in the PTU to play on stream or even on live when 3.20 does go live, make sure to hop in. Hop in on Discord. I'll usually be posting a message or something, just letting people know that I'm going to get to play, and we'll jump into a little voice channel together and hit up some Star Citizen. Hope you enjoyed this update though. Got some information on what's going on in development for the game. I do these every month here live on the channel. I also do like a lot of other little development talks. I go in deep into like different types of features and things they've said over the years. And then we repost them to the second channel, Space Tomato 2, where you can see everything kind of edited down to something a little more palatable. But wherever you get the content, see the content, find the content, watch the content, thank you for doing so. It's a ton of support just to have you here watching and listening and checking this out and talking in chat. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for being active, folks. And thanks for the other support, the memberships, the subs, all that stuff. Keeps this going, helps us keep creating content. We are looking to do some upgrades here to the content shortly with a couple other different types of stuff coming out and a new channel we're going to be starting towards the end of the year. So thank you for making that possible, guys, with your support. As always, supporters will be getting a exclusive video towards the end of this month, so keep an eye out for it. And if you haven't already seen the most recent one, kind of compares the development timeline of Baldur's Gate 3 to Star Citizen, it's an interesting one. It's worth checking. It's posted on the Discord. Ooh, and I got to get that up for Twitch subscribers as well. Keep an eye out for that on Discord, folks. Thanks again for being here today. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to send you all on to Burks. Tell them we said what's up. Have a good day. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.